namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamutiraye. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today is the last session of Uddhava Gita. Last 3 days we have been discussing the various chapters from Uddhava Gita. As I said in the beginning, this chapter is also called Moksha Gita. Then in Uddhava Gita there are many other Gitas. There are many other Upadeshas, instruction. We have Avaduta Brahmana and Yadu Maharaja's discussion, that is one. Then we had Hamsa Gita. Then we have Bhikshu Gita, which is also called Avanti Gita, Avanti Brahmana's prayers. It's called Bhikshu Gita. Then the last Upadesha in Uddhava Gita is Aila Gita. So you can see 4 different important chapters in Uddhava Gita, and all these chapters are leading to renunciation, sannyasa or tyaga, vairagya, those kind of chapters. So today we will touch upon Avanti Brahmana's Bhikshu Gita. Bhikshu Gita means the prayer of a beggar. And Aila Gita. Aila means the king Pururava. Pururava, if you have read Bhagavatam 9th canto, you will come across Pururava, Maharaja Pururava, getting attracted to Urvashi. Urvashi is his wife, kind of a partner. Then one fine day she left Maharaja Pururava, and Pururava started lamenting out of separation. So his another name is Aila, A-I-L-A. So that portion of his prayers or his realization is called Aila Gita. So these chapters are the lessons for Sannyas Diksha. Even in ISKCON we follow that. Anybody who takes Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, they go through these lessons. That doesn't mean it is not applicable to us. It is very much applicable to us. We are also going through these kind of things in our life. We get hurt. There are pain in relationship. There are disappointments in economy, and all these things happen. And these chapters beautifully explain how we handle those situations and how we get out of those situations. So, first today we will discuss about Avanti Brahmana. Avanti is somewhere closer to the present Ujjain. Ujjain, that is where Ujjain is the place of Sandipani Maharshi. Sandipani Maharshi was living in Ujjain, and Krishna and Balarama and Sudama, all 3 of them went to Sandipani Muni, and they did their Gurukula there under Sandipani Muni. And Krishna and Balarama were students for only 64 days. Krishna, Balarama went to school only for 64 days in their whole life. I didn't realize all these things. Went to school for 12 years and all the wasted in education, then college, so many things. But Krishna totally went to school for 64 days only. I hope many children are listening to this lecture. So 64 days Krishna studied in Sandipani Muni's ashram in Ujjain. Then he moved further to Hastinapur and Dwarka and further things. So That Ujjain is also called, the original name of Ujjain is Avanti. So this Brahmana is somewhere from that area, Avanti Brahmana. He is from a Brahmana caste, but he was more into money, too much into money. So he renounced or he gave up his dharma. A Brahmana's dharma is yajanam, yajanam, dhanam, parityagam, padanam, padanam. These 6 are the duties of a Brahmana. Study and teach others, live by begging, receive charity and give charity. Practice charity in full extent. Receive charity. And if you have excess, give it away. Yajanam, yajanam, padanam, padanam, dhanam, parityagam. Perform puja and teach puja. These 6 are the duties of a Brahmana. Like what we discussed yesterday, this Avanti Brahmana, he was so greedy for money, he left his ashrama, Varna. Then he became a tradesman, businessman. He bought lots of agricultural land, was doing agriculture and trading, making money, making a lot of money. He stopped his puja, worshipping gods and doing dhana, yajna, he stopped all the Brahminical duties and completely got involved in these kind of businesses. And he was making so much money, so much money. At the same time, he was such a kanjoos, pitashi, miserly man. So miser he was, not spending any money for his family, not for relatives, not for servants, not even for himself. He was gathering money so much. He was also not using it, spending for himself. He was torturing himself so much. And gradually, his family members, servants, his own wife, children, brothers, all of them turned inimical. So a beautiful thing is explained here. Whatever you respect will stay with you. So simple logic. Very simple message from Bhagavatam. Whatever you respect stays with you. I respect my wife, wife stays with me. I respect my husband, husband stays with me. I respect money, money stays with me. I respect Gyan, Gyan stays with me. I respect guest, guest will stay with me. I respect Vaishnavas, Vaishnavas will be with me in my life. So whether it is matter or persons or spirit, whatever it is, whatever we respect will stay with us. Beautiful lesson. So how to respect? How do we respect money? Not by locking it inside. If we lock it, then what happens? It is like the bees collecting honey and collecting it in honeycomb. And once the honeycomb is full, honey starts dripping so full. Immediately hunter comes and burns the bees, kills the bees and takes the honey and goes off. Respect means use it. For example, if I respect Bhagavad Gita, that doesn't mean I keep it in a shelf nicely, protect and keep it under lock and key. No, I start reading it. That's why I respect. I start following, applying those principles in my life. That is respect. So how to respect money? Some portion can be saved for our future. Some portion can be spent for the dependents, wife, children and all, parents, elderly parents. Some portion is used for, preaching purposes, some seva. Some portion can be used to give gifts to Vaishnavas. So in this way we respect money. So whatever we respect stays with us forever.